Welcome to The Explainer. I'm really thrilled you're here today because we are looking at a story that honestly feels like it was ripped straight out of a sci-fi thriller. Except every single detail we're about to cover is entirely real, completely documented, and it's actively reshaping our digital world right now. We're looking at Anthropic's artificial intelligence models. Because on one hand, we've got the highly publicized, incredibly powerful Claude OPUS 4.8, which is just celebrated everywhere for its coding prowess. But then, on the other hand, we have a classified, terrifyingly capable counterpart, a literal shadow model. Okay, let's dive right into this.
Think about it. What actually happens when an AI is deemed simply too dangerous for public consumption? It's a pretty chilling thought, right? I mean, we are so used to tech companies just rushing to give us their latest and greatest toys. But back in the spring of 2026, that entire paradigm shifted violently. We suddenly learned that the true frontier of AI isn't just what you and I can buy for a $20 monthly subscription. No, the real frontier is locked in a digital vault, hunting for the very vulnerabilities that hold our modern society together.
A cybersecurity reckoning. That is exactly how the New York Times reported on it. The sudden existence of this hidden technology, this model known as Claude Mythos, literally sparked emergency meetings on Wall Street and triggered full-blown global panic among central banks. But listen, before we can truly grasp the sheer magnitude of the Mythos model, we first need to understand the public baseline it was built on. We got to look at the titan that anyone with an internet connection can actually access.
Section 1. OPUS 4.8, the public powerhouse. Released in late May 2026, this is Anthropic's flagship public model. It's the one everyone is actually allowed to see, use, and build with. And let me tell you, it is an absolute beast.
69.2%. I really want you to burn this number into your memory. This is Claude OPUS 4.8's staggering score on the SWE Bench Pro. That's a rigorous benchmark testing a model's ability to solve incredibly complex, real-world software engineering issues. With a score like that, OPUS 4.8 established absolute dominance over heavy-hitting rivals like GPT 5.5 and Gemini 3.1 Pro. It essentially crowned OPUS 4.8 as the undisputed king of public coding models. But how exactly does it pull that off?
Well, Anthropic engineered this thing to be the ultimate digital architect. We're looking at insane features like adaptive thinking, where the model actually decides on its own when to pause and reason deeply versus when to just spit out a fast answer. It uses dynamic workflows, meaning it can literally spawn hundreds of parallel subagents to execute massive code-based scale migrations totally on its own. You've got manual effort control, so users can just dial up the brains or dial up the speed. But honestly, the most absolutely crucial feature here is the new self-correcting coder honesty filter. It is reportedly 4 times less likely than its predecessor to let flaws in its own code pass unremarked. It explicitly points out its own uncertainties. It's built from the ground up to be safe, honest, and reliable.
Section 2. Claude Mythos, the hidden Leviathan. So, if OPUS 4.8 is the architect meticulously building and checking its work, Mythos is the apex predator lurking beneath the surface.
You have to realize the public was never even supposed to know about Mythos. Just look at this chaotic progression from spring 2026. It is wild. On March 26th, an accidental data leak by Anthropic tips off the media to this model's existence. By April 7, basically forced into a corner, Anthropic publicly acknowledges Mythos and admits it presents significant cybersecurity risks. Just 2 days later, the U.S. Treasury Secretary and the Federal Reserve Chair are literally convening Wall Street bank CEOs for an emergency warning. And by April 16th, Anthropic is sitting in the White House. That is the sheer unprecedented level of panic an unreleased AI model caused in less than a single month.
The really crucial point here is understanding the massive divide between these two models. On one hand, you have Claude OPUS 4.8. Right? You can rent its massive brain for $5 to $25 per million tokens. It's sitting right there on Amazon Bedrock, Google Cloud Vertex, Microsoft Foundry, built for general software engineering. But on the other hand, you have Claude Mythos. You cannot buy it, you cannot access it, it is strictly off-limits to the public, specialized completely and exclusively in vulnerability detection, and guarded like a literal state secret. Why? Because an AI that is this good at finding flaws is essentially a weapon of mass digital destruction if it falls into the wrong hands.
Section 3. Project Glasswing, the Vault. To manage this staggering threat, Anthropic didn't release it. They locked it down in a highly restricted, invite-only initiative.
Anthropic restricted access to this highly specialized tool strictly to the global organizations that form the very backbone of our digital and financial infrastructure. We're talking an elite group of just over 40 members. You've got big tech giants like Apple, Google, and Microsoft, Financial heavyweights like JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs, critical infrastructure providers, AWS, Cisco, even the Linux Foundation. And just as notably, this access was fiercely guarded. For example, when a Chinese think tank requested access to the model, they were explicitly, flat-out denied. This is not just some software beta test, guys. It is a global security perimeter.
And the global urgency proves just how seriously the entire world took this perimeter. It wasn't just the US hitting the panic button. The Bank of Canada summoned their major lenders. The Bank of England convened its cross-market operational resilience group. Japan's Financial Services Agency immediately stepped in. Australia's Prudential Regulation Authority started urging extreme vigilance. Even European Central Bank President Christine Lagarde publicly praised Anthropic for locking down access. The entire global financial sector realized, basically all at once, that the game had permanently changed. Section 4. Hunting 0 days across systems. Why all the panic? Because of what Mythos is specifically built to do in the dark.
Seriously, think of Mythos out there in the wild as an autonomous digital bloodhound. Step 1. It digests millions and millions of lines of code, way beyond the capacity of any human security team. Step 2. It sniffs out these incredibly deep, basically invisible vulnerabilities woven into the very architecture of our operating systems and browsers. And then Step 3. It surfaces these 0-day flaws, bugs that literally no one has ever seen before. And it does this so they can be patched before malicious actors even know they exist. It is the ultimate cyber predator, but thankfully it's hunting the bugs, not us.
And the scale of its success? It's completely unprecedented. Anthropic stated plainly, and this is wild, that Mythos found vulnerabilities in literally every major operating system and every major web browser during its testing. We even saw reports of the cybersecurity firm Caliph utilizing the Claude Mythos preview through Project Glasswing to uncover a brand new, totally unknown security vulnerability sitting right inside Apple's macOS. The sheer power this model has to just pierce through layers of complex modern security is unmatched.
Section 5. The new cybersecurity frontier. The existence of a model like Mythos creates a fundamental permanent shift in how we view digital safety. Experts over at The Conversation actually compared this whole situation to the gamble of nuclear deterrence, and the concerns they're raising are severe, and they're being impartially reported on across the board. Because, look, while massive banks and tech giants get to use Mythos to build these totally impenetrable walls, what happens to everyone else? Experts are rightly arguing that Mythos puts smaller teams, independent developers, and everyday individuals at a massive cybersecurity disadvantage. The haves get the ultimate AI defender, while the have-nots are left to just fend for themselves in a digital ecosystem where an AI can find a backdoor into almost anything.
Which brings us to this final thought. If a single corporate entity holds the keys to an AI that is simultaneously the world's ultimate hacker and its absolute ultimate defender, who guards the guardians? Right now, we have OPUS 4.8 out there building the future in public, while Mythos is securing or perhaps threatening our foundations in secret. It's an arms race, but the weapons are entirely invisible, and the stakes are nothing less than the security of the entire global digital economy. Think about that the next time your phone asks you to update your software. Thank you for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the technology that shapes our world.